Thanks for joining us, everybody. You're watching News 3 now at 5.
An ice skater rescued from Lake Monona this morning. Viewer video shows us the rescue that happened. It was about 200 yards offshore, just northeast of the Monona Terrace. The craft was deployed from Law Park and was pulled on foot to the skater, who was in an area where the water was estimated between 40 and 50 feet deep. The person was brought safely to shore, taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
New video from the Ancora Cafe on Monona Drive shows us the moment that sprinklers malfunctioned during regular business hours. The indoor portion of the cafe is closing briefly for repairs. However, the drive-through will still be open. Owners of the cafe say there is not yet a timetable for reopening the dining room.
Well, now for a look at your first warn forecast, Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington out on the weather patio. Alex, we hope the sprinklers don't come on right now for you.
Looking around out here. Maybe snowflakes, snow sprinklers. We got that in the forecast. Let's go right to the graphics, actually, here to show you that we do have some changes in our 7-day snow chances. The Friday chance largely unchanged, but we'll track that in a little bit in Maine weather. It's the Sunday chance of snow that has changed with a greater chance for snow, and we could be looking at some accumulation. We're going to be talking about that through our newscasts this evening. So 7-day snow chances up a little bit, especially for Sunday. Right now out here we got 20 degrees, 20-degree wind chill because the winds are calm as we look at our first warn weather cam here. A nice sunset in southern Wisconsin. 16 at 6, 14 at 8, 12 at 10 p.m. as our temperatures dip on down throughout the evening. We got 20 again in Madison, 22 in McFarland, 22 to the west, on 14 in Cross Plains and the rest of southern Wisconsin. A little cooler to these, 19 in Watertown. Contrast that to 24 to the west in Boscoville and 21 in Janesville. Again, coming up in Maine weather, we're going to be tracking the temperatures warming up a little bit and then focus our attention on these two weather systems that could bring some snow to southern Wisconsin.
All right, Alex, thank you. Culver's says it had a record-breaking day at nearly all of its 80 locations around the state after offering to donate 25% of sales to the victims of the ALCS shooting. Cars lined up around the block in support of the fundraiser to help the families of Aaron West and Ruby Patricia Vergara, who were killed in the shooting, along with the 6 others who were injured. The amount of money raised yesterday is not clear. However, United Way of Dane County, where the donations were going, raised over $243,000. At the state capitol, lawmakers are demanding change, and a moment of silence was held for the victims.
All children and all parents are feeling this loss and the loss of so many children unnecessarily to gun violence. I hope that in this session we can work together to do all we can to reduce firearm injuries and make this world safer for our kids.
Community members will have another chance to get food while supporting victims of Abundant Life Christian School. Texas Roadhouse locations near Westtown and Easttown Mall will hold a fundraiser tomorrow, and 100% of the proceeds will go toward ALCS.
Lawmakers at the state capitol push forward the process to make the photo ID requirement for voting part of the state constitution.
Political reporter Will Keneally is at the Capitol with the latest.
This voter ID proposal is the first policy lawmakers at the state capitol here are tackling, working to get it done quickly so voters can consider it within a matter of months here.
There's so many things that we cannot do in our lives anymore without having some proof of identity, okay?
In Wisconsin, voting is on that list, according to state law, and Republicans in the state legislature moved forward today to enshrine it in the state constitution.
This amendment is here today because I am unwilling to let this basic election integrity measure be overturned by the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Adding the photo ID requirement to the state constitution would make it harder for the state Supreme Court to throw out that law if liberals maintain a majority control of the bench after this April's election.
We have taken away the freedom to vote from thousands of eligible, legal Wisconsin voters.
We could enshrine free IDs specifically for voter registration.
Democrats pushed back. arguing that it was a political ploy. They cited instances like this interview with Congressman Glenn Grothman, saying photo ID laws could help Republicans in places like Milwaukee.
And now we have photo ID, and I think photo ID is going to make a little bit of a difference as well.
Now, that proposal moved out of the state Senate today, heading to the state assembly next week. The key thing, though, for voters at home is that you will get the final say on this policy. It'll go to a statewide full referendum vote, likely this.
All right, that was Will Keneally reporting. Will, thank you. The nation continues to honor the late former President Jimmy Carter. Joe Biden has declared January 9th now as a day of mourning. That's the same day the official state funeral for Jimmy Carter will be held at the Washington National Cathedral. As a result of this designation, the U.S. Postal Service will not deliver mail tomorrow. The U.S. Supreme Court, the stock market, government offices will also all be closed.
Sign-ups for the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, are nearing a new record. The Biden administration announced today nearly 24 million people have signed up so far. That is almost double from when President-elect Donald Trump was last in office. The administration says growth in Obamacare enrollment is fueled by more generous federal subsidies, heightened outreach, and an easier enrollment process. In Wisconsin, enrollment numbers are up nearly 20% from last year.
A Janesville man is in police custody after police say he robbed a bank in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says a 51-year-old man was wanted in connection with that robbery yesterday. He also has an outstanding warrant from the Wisconsin Department of Corrections. The 51-year-old being held at the Monroe County Jail pending extradition in Minnesota. The Sheriff's Office says no injuries were reported during the arrest and there is no danger to the public.
DNR officials in Chippewa County say a wild deer there has tested positive for chronic wasting disease, or CWD, triggering bans in 2 nearby counties. This is the first positive result for CWD in a wild deer in Chippewa County, and now Chippewa County is renewing a 3-year ban on baiting and feeding deer that is already in place. Barron County is reviewing a 2-year baiting and feeding ban, and Dunn County is continuing its 3-year baiting and feeding ban.
A brief traffic note in Madison, a portion of Manitou Way will be closed for tree removal. Officials say Manitou will be closed from Tumalo Trail to Iroquois Drive next Tuesday and Wednesday between 9 and 2 each day. The southbound side will be closed Tuesday. Northbound side will be closed on Wednesday.
Wisconsin's Department of Health Services is encouraging property owners and schools to test for radon. What you're looking at here is a map on the DHS website that shows the different areas of the state that are more prone to radon. A recent study showed radon at an elevated rate in 1 of every 10 homes in Wisconsin. There are 17 radon information centers around the state, including a location in Madison. It's just off West Doty Street and Martin Luther King Boulevard. Information can be found on our website, channel3000.com.
Wisconsin's Department of Financial Institutions, or DFI, is joining 52 state regulatory agencies in coordinated action against a mortgage servicer. Those involved in the suit say Bayview Asset Management LLC and 3 of its affiliates had improper cybersecurity and is not cooperating with state regulators after a data breach. That's affecting 5.8 million customers. Wisconsin regulators are joining the other agencies, levying a $20 million fine and a corrective plan.
President Biden approved a major disaster declaration for California because of multiple wildfires that are still burning out of control tonight in Los Angeles.
The fire officials say 2 people have been killed. More than 1,000 structures have now been destroyed so far, including many luxury homes, and thousands more are at risk. Elise Preston reports from Malibu.
Fire officials have called for more resources as they battle a disaster of epic proportions. Multiple wildfires burning across Los Angeles County.
Together, these fires are stretching the capacity of emergency services to their maximum limits.
The largest one is in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood. Tens of thousands of residents are under evacuation orders. At the Eaton fire, which broke out Tuesday night near Pasadena, some homeowners returned to see their houses destroyed. Fire officials say the powerful winds fueling the fires are putting many more structures at risk.
The National Weather Service has predicted a continued red flag weather event with strong winds and low humidities, placing all residents of Los Angeles County in danger.
And this is what's at stake. As families flee for their lives, firefighters are trying to stop flames that are devouring homes.
You know, it's really scary when you can see the flames coming up over the houses 2 blocks away.
As the fires continue to spread, public safety officials are asking people to be ready if necessary.
Make sure you have your essentials, your important paperwork, your medications, things that you can take, your phone charger.
They say anyone who stays put is not only risking their own lives, but putting emergency workers' lives in jeopardy too. Elise Preston, CBS News, Malibu, California.
And this is new video tonight out of Pasadena as firefighters and police officers help evacuate hundreds of people from a care home there. In the video, you can see ash and embers blowing by signaling that the fire is extremely close. Winds in Pasadena gusted today up to 80 miles per hour. And here is a live look tonight. This is Mount Wilson in California as the wildfires continue to burn.
Yeah, the latest estimates from officials say the fires have been 0% contained. California Governor Gavin Newsom has canceled his visit to President Carter's state funeral for the Pasadena area. Now, many of you have been out to the Rose Bowl. This is from Mount Wilson in the San Gabriels. You can see this. It's about 20 miles northwest of the Rose Bowl Stadium. The air quality monitors there are reporting indices up to 1,200, so that's 4 times the requirement for an emergency state. It has been an unbelievably tragic day for the residents there in many areas of Southern California. We'll continue to monitor. Well, just ahead, Alex returns a complete look at your midweek forecast.
And Meta is set to change fact-checking on Facebook and its other platforms. We'll have local reaction to those changes.
On Wall Street today, the Dow gains 107 points in midweek trading. The Nasdaq down just 11. The S&P 500 adds a little more than 9. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Well, if you're a user on Facebook, Threads, or Instagram, some changes are heading your way.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced Tuesday the company will be adopting different practices on how they fact check. Our Jalen Banks joins us with what those are. Jalen?
Eric and Susan, Meta will be replacing its third-party fact-checking system with a process another well-known social media platform uses. And speaking to some local Facebook users, they're pretty skeptical of the idea.
So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
That was part of Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg's message Tuesday, why the company will be changing its fact-checking practices.
From what we had heard, the program was successful. It had a lot of support from inside. It was very effective at reducing the spread of harmful false information, misinformation.
The company will be adopting a process from Elon Musk-owned X, Community Notes, which has faced sharp criticism.
So they basically rely on their users to flag what they think is misinformation. It gets voted on and then might become public. In the time that I've spent researching and analyzing that system, I found that it's really ineffective. It's ineffective on its own. When Elon Musk took over, he got rid of a lot of moderators, a lot of the checks on misinformation.
And speaking to some local Meta users, doubts are setting in.
I think it's an issue, especially when you have just anybody editing pages. And when you have people that can come in and say whatever they want, it's a big issue.
Well, I'm greatly concerned because of all the dangerous and inaccurate information that came out regarding both during the pandemic, but also in the 2016 elections.
And these changes coming at a time where proper vetting may become even more vital.
It could not have come at a worse time to end this fact-checking program. We just saw our first death from bird flu, so we might be on the precipice of another public health emergency of which we always see misinformation spreading. And now Meta has basically pulled back on its plan to fight misinformation.
Instagram and Facebook currently have 400 million users in the U.S.
Jalen, thank you. Now let's get a check on the weather. Well, guess what? It's cloudy and cold and no snow, but maybe that's going to be changing, right, Alex?
A little optimism. If you do want some snow, and check out my Facebook. We're going to actually do this on Channel 3000's Facebook. Curious, do you want the snow, not want the snow? We know some do, some don't. So some of us are going to be happy and some of us are going to say, I'd rather that it not snow. And that's part of the three things you need to know here. Still no big warm-ups in sight. The flurries that we're still expecting Thursday night and Friday, they're still in the cards here. But then as we go into Sunday, looks like a better chance of snow. Let's start with tonight, though. Let's plan our evening. 17 at 6, 15 at 7, 8 o'clock at 13, and 9 o'clock at 12. Actually, 8 o'clock now is going to be 14, according to our weather model. And clear skies. Susan said we had cloudy skies we did earlier. We're clearing out again, just like we've been doing these past couple of days. 20 right now in Madison, 20 in Middleton, 20 in Waunakee, 21 in the west, in Cross Plains, and 21 to the south in Oregon in Dane County. Across the rest of southern Wisconsin, Camp Douglas, you seem to be one of those chillier spots. It's chilly at 16 compared to a 21 in Janesville, and how about 20 in Platteville? So we know it's cold, and I want to reassure folks here, no big warm-ups here over the course of the next 10 days. Actually, a brief cool down compared to normal Tuesday going into Wednesday, and that's behind that second weather system, the Sunday weather system we're going to talk a little bit about in this newscast as well. But first, where are we at with our snow so I can kind of lay the framework? Normal should be right around, or I should say last year we had about 10 inches. This winter we have 9.4 inches. Normal to date, about double that. So we're way, way, way behind. We've got a ways to go, and we have a little opportunity for some snow. Where's the Friday snow? Well, we've got an area of snow off to the west over the northern Rockies. Another part of that weather system is gearing strength over the American Southwest, and they're going to move off towards the north and towards the east, giving a bigger snow system to our south. We get a little bit of that on Friday as we track future track here. Just a little bit of light snow, flurry activity late Thursday night going on into Friday morning. Could see a couple of slick spots with just a dusting of snow expected, but this one's not expected to be a big big snow. As you note here with future track snow accumulations, dusting maybe an inch at most across all of southern Wisconsin. It's this next weather system. Sunday, there's a better chance of snow. Minor snow accumulations are possible on Sunday depending on how that weather system tracks. Let's give you a glimpse of what that could look like. Here comes Saturday night, snow breaking out across much of southern Wisconsin, periods of it. As we go at 6 o'clock Sunday morning, better snow to the north, south, and west. As we go later into Sunday, that weather system moves into southern Wisconsin. Its track is absolutely key, meaning the center of that system is right over southern Wisconsin. At 6 o'clock, I'm going to let you know why that track is so key to the amounts that we could receive out of this Clipper-like system, and then it ends later Sunday night. So recap, flurries at night on Thursday. Friday, again, we could have a little bit of light snow, dusting, could see a slick spot, better chances of snow Sunday at a 60% coverage. Then we turn colder after that, and we moderate a little bit as we go out into next week. And at 6, I'll let you know more about that track and maybe some of the amounts that we could see with that Sunday weather Clipper system. In Laval, thanks Scott for sending us this photo. The ring around the moon is what you see when moisture starts to move back into the area. Very vivid in the wintertime. If you look at that QR code, scan it, send us your photos so we can show you photos just like Scott here, that nice halo ring around the moon. And briefly with traffic here, things are going just fine right now as it looks like on the Beltline, 50 to 60 miles per hour going to the south in Janesville. You probably got your heaters going. Temperatures around 70, not temperatures, we're doing traffic here, Alex. 70 miles per hour, 70 mile per hour in the eastbound as you head up towards the Dells. And again, I suspect folks have their heat turned on high in the car.
I'd take 70 for a temperature, though.
Me too.
You know that, Alex. After the break, the Minnesota Coast Guard starting to cut ice on Lake Superior. How this mammoth effort keeps trade ships moving.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Well, one group of people that's pretty excited about this cold weather is the U.S. Coast Guard.
Operations officially started this week to break up the ice on Lake Superior. Keeping ships and commerce moving on the Great Lakes is the mission of the Mackinac and other Coast Guard cutters. Sophia Lauber has the story.
Set the mission high. The Mackinac's crew is one group of people that's pretty excited about the recent cold temperatures in the Twin Ports.
We're kind of hoping the ice forms because it's fun for us to get to do our job, but mainly the hope is that the ships can keep moving.
Keeping ships and commerce moving on the Great Lakes is the mission of the Mackinac and other Coast Guard cutters.
Here we're making an impact every single day. We're helping out industry and we're helping to keep that commerce flowing and supporting basically the U.S. economy here in the Great Lakes.
The name Operation Taconite is a nod to the important mission behind the ice cutting.
While the ship offers a great view up top, the best view on the boat is actually right here out on the deck where you can see and hear the ice being broken.
The Mackinac has an ice-cutting superpower as the only ship in the Coast Guard fleet with something called azipods. They allow the ship to push water in any direction, making it more maneuverable in tight spaces.
I heard a lot of other boats can't really do what we do. Like when we make all these crazy turns where we spin around 360 degrees in the water, other boats can't do that. So it's been really cool to see.
For many on the ship, it's their first time getting to see how the cutter works given last year's mild winter. Commanding Officer Jeanette Green says the experience is crucial for her crew's training, so they're ready should a ship get stuck.
If we haven't had the chance to practice in close proximity to some of these 1,000-foot vessels, then we, might not be very good at it, and we could put ourselves in a dangerous place.
Working to keep themselves safe so they can continue to make the Great Lakes safer for those traveling on them.
And we'll get a final check of the weather. Ooh, what a pretty sunset tonight. That's a live picture. Alex will have a final look at the forecast when we come back.
Coming up tonight right here on the CBS Evening News, those hurricane-force winds worsen California's apocalyptic wildfires. Our coverage of the devastating infernos that have engulfed over 25,000 acres and destroyed more than 1,000 homes. The failing efforts to contain and the dwindling resources. We've got that and more tonight right here on the CBS Evening News.
And some breaking news nationally as we wrap up at 5 tonight. A man was arrested today for trying to bring a machete and knives into the U.S. Capitol Visitor Center. Police say officers saw the machete in the man's bag as it went through an X-ray machine. The man was arrested on charges of carrying a dangerous weapon. It comes as members of the public were streaming into the Capitol Rotunda to pay their respects to Jimmy Carter.
And Alex is back. One final check of the forecast.
We got snow chances, so changes in the forecast. Friday hasn't changed as much as Sunday, but Friday's chance, few flurries, light snow in the morning could impact the morning commute with just a slick spot or two. It's Sunday's chance that has increased as a clipper system moves into the area. We'll be tracking that. There could be 1 to 3 inches of snow with that very close by, if not in southern Wisconsin. Temperatures staying about normal through at least Monday. Then we cool down Tuesday and Wednesday behind that clipper-like system. Notice the low temperatures getting closer to 0, but then we moderate at the end of next week. We may actually break freezing by the end of next week, which might be a treat for those that are ready to get out of this deep cold. Coming up at 6, more about that Sunday weather system.
Okay.
Alex, thank you. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.